the word sanitary pad for me was never an issue, because when that time comes, I have sanitary pad. I don't think about somebody struggling to have sanitary pad. But I went to England last year, April, to launch the African Women's Forum. And then a 17-year-old girl from Tanzania stood up and said to me, Madam First Lady, you have a voice that can help us girls. You know, I've been following First Ladies around the world, and I believe you can help us achieve this. I said, achieve what? He said, do you know how many of us struggle to go to school and finish our education just because we cannot afford sanitary pads? I was shocked, because sanitary pads has never been an issue around me or people around me. So when I came back, I started engaging schoolgirls, started talking to teachers. Then I realized that Sierra Leonean girls are missing 84 days a year, which is 35% of the school year, just because they cannot afford sanitary pads. And when that time comes for them, when they are seeing their menstruation, they just stay home until they're finished, and then they come back to school. But if you miss 35% of your school year, definitely the boys will be ahead of you all the time. We're not in competition with the boys, but then the fact here is menstruation does happen. Menstruation is not a choice.
Absolutely.
Menstruation is part of us women. You know, it has to happen to us. Now, if girls are missing out of school 84 days, and when I calculate that to the government revenue that has been invested into education, 21% of our national GDP goes into education. So when you have girls missing out 84 days of school, but yet still 21% of our national GDP still goes to education, so nothing changes, then why don't we find a way of making sure these girls stay in school, remain in school, and utilize this 21% of our national GDP, and also stay in school as the boys, so they don't miss out of their education. The whole purpose of the Hands of Our Girl is to be able to keep girls in school, make them focus on their education, and forget about these distractions that are happening around the world. Concentrate on your education and acquire the right education that you need, so that you develop your future and be a better person tomorrow. But if you're missing 84 days, not by your own choice, but just because you're a woman, then I think that we have to look into it. And that is the reason why I feel I have to do something about it. I need to engage as many people as possible. And I have a gospel friend who's my childhood friend. We've been friends since we were like 10 years together. And we've been friends ever since. Rebecca Atto. She is a renowned gospel singer in the UK. And a Sierra Leonean. When this idea came, I said, girl, what do we do? She flew in from the UK like 4 days after I left the UK, when this Tanzania kid confronted me. She came in and said to me, I was thinking about sanitary pads for the girls. Have you thought about that? And I started laughing, because then I knew God is using these people. Because I just came from the UK. She was not in that meeting. We did not have this conversation. I came from the UK, where she lives. And she flew into Freetown and came with the same subject. Can you look into sanitary pads? So I explained the story to her. I said, listen, I met this 17-year-old kid, and this is exactly what she confronted me with. Said, you know, because whenever me and Rebecca were together, she's always talking about Holy Ghost fire, Holy Ghost fire. I said, are you sure you are not using your Holy Ghost fire to chase me around the world now? And, you know, we, as sisters, we decided that, you know, she said, I don't have the money, but God has given me the gift of singing. And I have a whole lot of gospel singers around the world that are my friends. Can I engage them? And then we can engage the Sierra Leone gospel artists and see whether we can put together a concert, and whatever funding we raise there, it goes straight into the sanitary pads.
Right. So the Free Sanitary Pads initiative is, you know, dear to you. You're very passionate about it. How do you plan to roll this out? What's the plan for its manufacturing and eventual distribution to young girls in the country?
Well, first of all, what you need to do, what I have to do first, is to find the money. Because I have presented this to the government, you know. We're looking at $7 million. At the moment, we don't have that kind of money, $7 million for sanitary pads. So I'm taking the project to the people. When I started the Hands of Our Girl campaign, the Hands of Our Girl campaign became successful because the people on the project, it was the people's project. And I'm looking at Sierra Leoneans knowing full well that we have so many good people in this country. One girl only needs $11.50. That's all a girl needs for a year, $11.50. So if I don't reach out to people, if I don't actually explain to people the need for sanitary pads, it will just be a project that, you know, you're dying to have for your girls, but you cannot, because I don't have $7 million lying anywhere in the world, you know. So I have to come back to the people who mandated my husband to be the president of this country, the Sierra Leoneans who do love Sierra Leone dearly. I'm coming back to them and say, our girls need sanitary pads, and collectively we can do something about it. It's $11.50. If you don't ask, you don't get help. And I'm not a first lady who is ever ashamed to say, I need help. I need help. And, you know, right from the beginning, when this whole thing, when we started talking about it, when we started putting things together, I have engaged the body of Christ, and they said, listen, we are with you 100%. People will ask me why the body of Christ. Reason being is because I don't want Stella to ask me the question. Let me just go straight to the point. The concert that I'm trying to do is a gospel concert. There's no way you're going to remove Christianity from gospel.
Yeah.
It's a gospel concert. But also, the fundamental thing for me here, that I am engaging all of these religious leaders, especially the body of Christ, is the fact that I believe when a woman talks about sanitary pad, it's normal. But when a man talks about sanitary pads, it's relevant. And the pastors and the reverend fathers and the bishops and archbishops that we have in this country, they have a congregation that moves Sierra Leone. And I feel it is time for every Sierra Leonean to start to talk about menstruation, because it's not a taboo. It is happening. Just as we don't want to talk about sex, but our kids are getting pregnant every day. But we are so ashamed to talk about sex. You don't want to talk about sex, but you know your child is doing it. And then what happened? The child come home one day, they are pregnant. Oh, you don't kill me. You don't put shame on me. Engage the children. They go to church every day. They go to the mosque, you know, time and again. The parents, the teachers. I am asking Sierra Leoneans, it is high time. The generation where you do not talk about sex or menstruation is long gone. At this time where we are, this generation that we're in now, the kids are curious. We have to educate our children. We've been lucky when this whole thing started. The Ministry of Education, what they have done that has been very fundamental into this project is reintroducing sexual education back in our curriculum. So they will start to talk about it in school. But it will be much, much, you know, relevant if we are all talking about it. Some of these kids, they don't know the danger of sex. They don't know how to even look after themselves when they're seeing their menstruation. Even me, myself, it is the last 1 year I have been educated so much that girls are struggling when they see their menstruation.
So how is your office engaging the ministry of health. You know, they have a huge role to play. You know, you stated it clearly. You know, menstruation is not a choice, but to have sex is a choice. And yet you still see organizations and even governments around the world dishing out free condoms. Yet still, something that is not a choice, such as menstruation, is not going out for free. No. So how will you engage in the Ministry of Health to also, in their own capacity, engage international partners? If we can give out free condoms, we should be able to give out free sanitary pads.
You know what? Whenever I have the opportunity to address this issue in the last 8 months, that has been my subject. I would rather you don't give my kids condoms, but give them sanitary pads. I am not saying that condoms should not be used. You use condom because it is your choice. You want sex because it is your choice. Menstruation is not a choice to women. Menstruation is not a choice to our kids. So the money that you spend buying all these condoms, bringing all of this, you know, when I say there are certain things when I talk, they said this first lady is so controversial. You understand? And I'm tired of people branding me as controversial. I am not controversial. I am just a first lady who say it as it is. The money you spend to buy condoms, the money you spend to bring family planning and insert on my children at the age of 10. 10-year-old kids should not be encouraged to go and have sex. 10-year-old kids should be encouraged to stay in school, remain in school, and finish their education. But then you do have NGOs, you do have this organization coming into your country and dishing out these things. And then you have parents that are okay with it.
So what engagement, what is the Ministry of Health saying? Because like you've said, you've brought the project out to gospel artists to come out and support. But Sierra Leoneans would think, or one would think, this is also government's business. So what is the government saying with regard to this project, the Ministry of Health and probably even the Ministry of Education?
Like I've said to you, it is a government business. But there has been government here for 56 years before now. So it should have been every government's business. Now it is a new government. And this first lady wants to introduce it. Before me, there has been first ladies before me. Before I came, there's been a whole lot of other first ladies. And I think this should have been an issue that everybody should be talking about, because menstruation has been here before I came. So I am introducing this now to my government. And I'm saying to my government, we need this. But I'm not limiting it to just my government, because it is not just a government's business. It is everybody's business. Protecting a child should not be a government's business alone. You know, looking after a child and making sure a child is successful should not be a government business alone. It should be a Sierra Leonean business. It should be our citizens' business. So I'm introducing this as I'm doing it. Like I said, today is my first time I'm bringing this project now to the people, including the government, because the people are government. So I'm saying to them, hey, our girls need sanitary pads.
Madam First Lady, Salmatu Kawat Tarawali says, I think to set up a factory to manufacture it in the country will be more sustainable. Buying it is not the solution. In a country where we don't have, you know, young people are unemployed, can this be an initiative by the Office of the First Lady where it is manufactured in country, so we have people who can be employed? The business is generating money to fund itself. Can that be an initiative as one of the strategy in bringing this to the people of Sierra Leone? Thereby, it's owned by Sierra Leoneans.
I mean, that, like I said, the last 8 months, this is all I've been doing, working on the research, working on knowing whether the reusable ones are much better for in not only for hygiene purposes, but cost-wise. And then how do we bring a factory? You don't just say, hey, factory come, and they come. No. You have to have the money. If you do not have the money, no factory is coming to your country. So we are introducing this to the people first, so that the people on the project. We are not talking about making sanitary pads to sell to the school kids. I said give to them free. No factory is going to come to make sanitary pads for free and give to your school children for free. So for the factory to come here and, establish here, and, we talk about all of the other benefits in terms of work and making sure it is made here. It is laudable and it is possible, but it will only be possible when you have the funding. Because if I am going to be saying that we have to give it to them free, somebody have to pay the factory to make it. So until I'm able to raise as much awareness, until I'm able to raise as much fund as possible for me to be able to go and sit with a factory a manufacturer and says, come to my country and let us start making sanitary pads, which my government will be giving out to our girls free. I have to have funding.
Right. And one of the strategies you've, set up to raise funds for this project is this gospel concert you're talking about. Can you explain what the gospel concert would look like and how you plan to use it to make money for this project?
We are talking about 650,000 kids that need sanitary pads in the country. If we have to go, with the registry that is available with the Ministry of Education, from JSS2 to SSS3, so it's 650,000 young girls that will need sanitary pads. If you don't have to say, I want to choose this one and leave this one. Okay. Now we're talking about close to $7 million. A gospel concert will not give us $7 million. A gospel concert will not even give us $1 million. No. These are artists that wants to use their own talent to contribute to this. So I'm saying to every Sierra Leonean, in your own little way, whatever you think you can do for us to be able to have a sanitary pad for our girls, please engage my office and let us do it collectively. It is not a project that I want to own by myself. I don't want it to be Fatima's project. I just want to be the voice that talk to the people about it and let the people on it. The gospel concert, we are hoping that Sierra Leoneans will embrace it and they will remove politics into all of this. I am so sick and tired of everything in this country that even if the oxygen you breathe, they will want to make it some red, some green. I'm tired of this. I'm so tired. I do not want people associating everything you do to politics, because I believe when we have whatever little number we are able to get into this country as a starting point, 20,000, 50,000 sanitary pads, the schools or the kids that will benefit from these sanitary pads, we are not going to be going to those schools and say, which party your mother belongs, which party your father belongs. No. We just want to concentrate on the kids that needs them. We're not going to be going to ask about your political background, because it is none of my business. I've said this time and again, every human being have the right to belong to a political party that you feel is the one that is right for you. So I want every Sierra Leonean to look at this project not as SLPP project, but as a Sierra Leone project, because the kids that needs it are SLPP, APC, NGC, C4C, every political party in this country. Their children need sanitary pads.
And is it just for students or kids in the public school, or are we talking about every kid in Sierra Leone?
Every government schools and government assisted schools. Because like I said, I never knew that sanitary pads is a problem. I believe kids that are in private schools will not have that problem. That is my own belief also. You know, if you can afford a private school, you can afford a sanitary pad. My own opinion too. But I'm more concentrating on kids that are in government schools and government assisted school, because it is the government school and government assisted school that are taking 21% of our national GDP.
All right. So what then is the strategy to have the people of Sierra Leone contribute to this whole initiative? I mean, the concert is not the solution, and the concert is one-off. The contribution of Sierra Leone or Sierra Leoneans should be an ongoing contribution and process. What's the strategy? How do people get involved? Someone who is far north or far east, how do they get involved without having to come all the way to Freetown to the office of the First Lady?
Out of Sierra Leone
exactly.
as well.
We are going to put together a GoFundMe account where anybody who wants to support internationally, you can donate whatever little you want. We will have an account that is specifically there just for sanitary pads. If you want to donate in a bank account in Sierra Leone, you'll go into that into any of those banks, you know, that we'll be dealing with, and you can donate there. I'm even suggesting to government workers that are getting salary, if you donate 100,000 of your salary for 3 months into the sanitary pad project, you would be changing the lives of so many kids in this country. You know, for people who have money, if you can adopt 20, 30, 40, 50 kids and say, I am willing to pay for their sanitary pads, you'll be changing the lives of these kids. So I'm begging Sierra Leoneans, do not leave this and say, well, oh, this is of SLPP First Lady, so I don't want to, I'm an APC person. And today I am wearing red in solidarity of APC. So that they know, please, I mean, you might not like me very much because I have a loud mouth. Even within the SLPP, I know there are people there that will say, this First Lady has a loud mouth. I am just so true to myself, and I say it as it is. Don't think that I am against you or not, because I still believe every human being has the right to have a political party that they call theirs. And I want Sierra Leoneans to start looking at policies rather than look at color. And me, red is my favorite color. I am going to wear red as long as I want, because it is my favorite color. I'm not going to be bad from wearing red because I am SLPP. No, I will wear red. Any day I feel like wearing red, I wear it. So I'm saying to Sierra Leoneans, let us remove color in our politics. Let us forget about color in our politics. Let us talk about substance. Let us talk about the issues. Let us talk about policies. And let us see the things that are changing in our country. The positive side. When somebody come in front of you and say, I want you to vote for me, don't look at the color. Look at what this person is capable of bringing to your country. And, you know, I just want people to remove politics from these sanitary pads. And I'm begging people, please, you want to talk about politics, look for another agenda. But for sanitary pads, I beg, this one has no politics in it.
All right, so we have some samples here that you brought in. Can you just talk about what is in this package and, you know, how people can, how the young girls will use this? How long will it last? Probably the materials in it as well.
I mean, I'm not a manufacturer, so I will not be able to give you the materials that are in it. I just know it is a sanitary pad that is good for every woman. I use it myself, this one, because when they come in, I only have few samples of this. So when they brought the samples, I said, let me use it first, because if it's good for me, then it's good for another person. So we have 120 pieces in this pack. And this 120 pieces will last a girl a whole year. With this, no girl will use sanitary pads as a reason not to be in school anymore. They will be in school. And when they came with this, I opened one of the pads and I said, let me try it with water. I poured up to half of this bottle of water in it. And I tried on my skin. It was still dry. I used this. In the last 4 months, this is what I have been using. And if anybody understands the way the body works and the way women see their menstruation, some women are light, some women are heavy. I am one of those women that are very heavy, and I use this. And I have used it comfortably. It has not caused me any problem, and it has not done any, problem for me to be worried about when I have a sanitary pads on, because it is just that time when you're seeing your menstruation as a woman. I don't know for you ladies, but I am always jumpy.
Yeah. I'm
always jumpy because, I know my body, and when that time comes, I know it is so heavy. I'm always like, oh, I need to have extra clothes when I'm in public, all of those things. I've been using this for 4 months, and I'm okay. And if any woman is as heavy as me, then you have a product that you can recommend for your child. If you're light, then hallelujah, which is brilliant then, which means you don't have to be worried about anything. So 120 pieces in a pack, and this pack costs $11.50 from the
production cost.
Okay. $11.50 for this pack from the manufacturer's place in China, right down here into Freetown. And then people will say to me, oh, why China? Why are you making this in China? 90% of all sanitary pads in America, in England, in everywhere in the world is from China. It is just the name. It is the branding. It's how you brand it. So Chinese products are still being sold in America, sold in England, sold in all of Europe. So if it's good for them, it should be good for us too. And why people will say to me, why don't you look at the reusable ones? I have never used a reusable sanitary pads. And again, it comes back down to hygiene for me, And when I checked the cost, the ones that they will give, it will last for every 4 months. You have to change it. Now, the pack they give you that will last you for 4 months is $10. So which means cost-wise, for a year, a girl needs $30 for you to have a reusable sanitary pads for the whole year. $30, which you can have 3 of these for 3 girls rather than just 1 girl. So cost-wise, I want to still continue with the disposable ones. You train the girls, they understand how to use sanitary pads, and then when that time comes for you to do reusable ones, they already know what a sanitary pad is all about.
Well, we do have a lot of organizations that are always usually very keen in supporting initiative of first ladies around the world. And, a lot of these organizations usually have a lot of funding. So how's your office going to interact and really lobby international organizations to support this initiative? Certain unions can pitch in, but I don't know how strong they may be to raise $7 million. What are the international options?
Okay. I am still yet to see the international organization, because I have been a first lady a little under 2 years now. April will be 2 years, and the only international organization that comes and want to work or align themselves with my office is UNFPA, and sometimes Save the Children. But what I am looking for, believe you me, UNFPA has never ever, I don't know if they have that kind of money, even if they do have $1 million coming into Sierra Leone, but if they do, it has never come to my office. The same with, well, let me start with $100,000, because so people don't confuse my, things here. If UNFPA have $100,000 to give to projects that they're doing in Sierra Leone, it has never come to my office yet. So we start with $100,000. The same with Save the Children. Let's start with $100,000. It has never come to my office yet.
So how, that's the question. How would you engage international organizations, even those out, out of Sierra Leone? We've got amazing initiatives around the world. For example, Bill Gates Foundation, you have Facebook, there's a lot of community work they do, Google. How are you going to tap such organizations to buy into your initiative and probably pumping millions of dollars to support it?
You're talking about organizations that concentrate more in America. People, we just need to do our research on these things. These organizations, they have big names. They have billions and billions, but it's not for Sierra Leone. They don't give their money to Sierra Leone. The free quality education that we're talking about has been funded by Sierra Leoneans, 21% of our GDP. Who in the world will not want free quality education? But it has not been funded by any international organization at all. It has been funded by the government of Sierra Leone and the people of Sierra Leone. It is the taxpayers' money. We have engaged so many organizations. They have their own way how they do their own thing. Unfortunately, that amazing grace has not come down to Sierra Leone yet. Maybe in the future. And that's the reason why I don't want to limit myself to waiting for international organization when I believe there are good Sierra Leoneans in this country who can do this. Right. You know, international organizations, they're there. But by the time you start running after them today, tomorrow, then you will be doing nothing in your country because all you'll be doing is chasing them. And I haven't got that time to be chasing them. I'm putting out a project that I believe if you are a humanitarian and you really believe in humanitarian work, these are the things that you will want to do. But most of these organizations, if it's like they give you this and they want this in return, my office don't have anything in return to give because my office is not, it's the First Lady's office, but remember, I am the first lady who actually have a building as an office. Every other First Lady works at home. They create an office at the lodge and that is where they work. I am the only one who said, I want to work outside because you wake up in the morning, you just want your mindset to change. You dress up, go to your office and sit and then you walk. When I am at home and I'm smelling the kitchen, the food in the kitchen, I'll be leaving my office, going to the kitchen, eat. And Africans, what do? You eat, the next thing you just want to sleep. So I just want to remove myself from that kind of environment. And that's the reason why I have an office. And my office is not, I paid for my own office. As the First Lady, I pay for my own office. I pay my rent. I'm paying rent. It is not being paid by the government of Sierra Leone either. So these are the things that you will think that, okay, international organization will want to come and say, you know what, let us pay the rent for the office of the First Lady. No, they don't.
All right. So the goal now is to raise $7 million to do the pilot distribution, which would be, the first distribution of these sanitary pads. But perhaps it's too early to ask this, but what's the long-term goal? How do you plan to sustain this project to make free sanitary towels available to all girls across the country year in and year out?
The goal this year is not to have 7 million. It's not the $7 million dollars right now. It's introducing the project to the country, and then get the people to earn the project. Let it be people's project. The goal here, because we're looking at September coming, is when the first batch of whatever quantity we have should be in country, and then we go out to schools and make sure we're not giving this product to teachers to distribute. No. As I did for the Hands of Our Girl campaign, I will go to the schools because, again, I'm not trying to limit myself as if it is impossible to have the 650,000 sanitary pads that we need against September. I'm not trying to limit myself, but I'm also being realistic here. I am looking at, if I have 50,000 today, I will start with 50,000 sanitary pads. If I have 100,000 sanitary pads, I will start with 100,000 sanitary pads. I know gradually people will understand the need of sanitary pads and they will support the project. So when I feel that the people themselves now have earned this project, then all other logistics will be easy. To get a factory to come here to do this, if the money is available, the factory will want to come because they will want to make money. They will come and make.
Let me, from all what you've said, it seems you really want to detach the government in this project. You don't want to, you know, work with them. Probably the Ministry of Health or Education, as Stella and I have, you know, mentioned before. They seem detached from the project. Is there a specific reason why you don't want them to participate or to contribute at all?
No, I never said I don't want them. Every ministry have what is their priority. Every ministry have a budget line which is their priority. I don't want to dump this on them if it's not one of their priority. But I'm hoping as we go along, this ministry will see this as a need for the girls. So until that time when they say to me, you know what, we want to be the champion for this, I will continue to be the voice.
Is this something you hope to really continue to push long after even you're our First Lady?
I believe that if this country understand the need for sanitary pads for our girls, and they see the benefit and see the way things are changing, just like the free quality education, I don't see any government that will come and will want to remove something that is so good for the people, and you said, no, I will not want to continue. You know, when I am not the First Lady, when I cease to be the First Lady of this country, that point I will decide on the things that I want to champion.
Okay, so we do have a few messages, quite a lot. Someone is asking, I'm trying to find the message here. Someone is asking for the GoFundMe page. They would love to contribute and be a part of the initiative.
It will be set up very soon. Like I said, today is to introduce it to the nation, and then from here we will set up the GoFundMe account, and at the same time we will set up, we will open an account here, and I will come back and I will reintroduce the GoFundMe account. It will be on my page, it will be on the website. It will all the account details will be on all my 7 pages and the website of the Office of the First Lady.
Ajab Mohammed Jabi says, this is laudable. Let people learn to produce it locally. I believe we can afford it. So that's a commendation there. Quite a lot. I've lost a few of them. Thankfully, you know, a lot of them. Trust me, we have so many comments there. But the main, you know, question now is, as we move forward, and we want to, you know, this is something that is great for our kids. How would you be carrying along the private sector? The local businesses. This could be part of their CSR, their corporate social responsibility, where they say every year we will support X amount of leones or dollars to this initiative. How are you going to be carrying them along in this initiative?
That is what this is the starting point. From this point now, I'm reaching out to every government offices and hope that, like I said, when I was saying, if you are being paid, you know, if you can afford 100,000 a month, and every government worker said, you know what, I will donate 100,000. And then when you come to the private sector, I don't want to give them an amount, but they can adopt as many kids as possible to say, we will pay this amount of money for, you know, X amount of girls as our own corporate responsibility to the nation. All of that we will put in place. But before you start going to the people and asking them, you introduce the project. The project is what I'm introducing this morning, and also to call on Sierra Leoneans that the gospel artists have come together and we're doing this fantastic event on the 7th and the 8th. The 8th is International Women's Day. I should be in New York, but I said no. I want to be here and find sanitary pads for my girls. Please support it. And don't just buy a ticket because you think you're a Christian. Don't buy a ticket because you think you're a Muslim. Buy the ticket knowing full well in yourself that I am buying this ticket not because of the concert itself, but because I want to support a project that is meaningful to this country. Patriotism. If we have people buying tickets and come out on the 8th, the 7th is a donated project, and that is where I'm going to go around to all the businesses and ask for a donation. But then for the ones that will buy tickets, as we've made it as cheap as 20,000, you know, for open stand, 60,000 covered stand, I think 75 stage area and 250 for the presidential area. We make that open so that everybody will have access to this concert, but then knowing full well that you are also not there just to go and dance and jump and everything, but you are there contributing. Your own little 10,000, 20,000, you would also say, I contributed to that project.
Now, well, on our Facebook page, we have a number of people who are saying, you know, if we actually want to donate the pad in itself, you know, is that something that is open, people coming to donate the pad in itself to your office?
Absolutely, yes. If people want to donate, the reason why also I want to, I don't want people to be buying pads and bringing them, is for two reasons. The corruption in this country, we need a whole lot of things to do to be able to remove corruption from people. Now, when it is branded with your own brand, that nobody else have it in any shop, it is easy to manage. Because if I find you holding this in the street, selling it, we will make sure you are arrested. But if you give me an always pad, or another pad that is branded and it is in the market, then you give it to the kids and then somebody take it from them and go and sell it, there is nothing you can do about it, because they will say, well, I mean, I bought it in a shop. But no shop in this country have it. So I'm suggesting to people, if you have the money to buy the sanitary pads here, donate it so that we have a branded one that nobody will resell it. That is what I'm pleading to people. You know, the reason why, I mean, I have thought about how do you manage this? How would you, you know, you don't want something that is meant for the kids. You're talking about school kids, something that is meant for school kids. And then the kids don't actually enjoy it. So the purpose of the whole exercise will be in vain. If you're going to be giving them sanitary pads that are in shops, unless if those shops are willing to rebrand them and give it to us, then yes, it is a good idea.
And as we round up now, as we round up the session and the program as a whole, what message would you like to leave to Sierra Leoneans, to those watching, both within Sierra Leone and even out of Sierra Leone, to get them to support and get their hands on deck for this project?
I would want to say to all Sierra Leoneans, in your own little ways, let us start the campaign, just as people were doing for the Hands of Our Girl. You know, use this. We will take a picture of this and put it on all our social media. If you can take this and put it on your Facebook page, you know, let us, all of us be campaigning for one thing. I'm not saying this is the best campaign or this is the best product that everybody drop what you're doing and focus on this. But if you want to contribute in making sure the message is reached out to as many people as possible, the media houses, you talk about free sanitary pads, just as the way you've been talking about Hands of Our Girls. This is a complementary part of the Hands of Our Girls also. It will make the Hands of Our Girl more successful also. I'm saying to people, whatever little you have, you want to donate, we will make those information available to you before the end of this week. For the concert, I am saying to Muslims and Christians, please come to the National Stadium and support our gospel artists, because what they're trying to do is laudable, and whatever money we raise at the National Stadium and Bintumani is going straight into the sanitary pads. It's on the 7th and the 8th of March. The 7th and the 8th. The 7th is at Bintumani, the 8th is at the National Stadium. Come and support this. You're not supporting just gospel artists. You are supporting the free sanitary pad project. And everybody who is a Sierra Leonean and mean well for this country, let us start talking about menstruation. Let us start talking about the effect of menstruation on our schoolgirls. Let us talk about it, because until we talk about it, we will not, unless we talk about it, we will not have a solution.
So with the event coming up in March, is it a free event where people go free and then they go donate, or they buy a ticket and they still make a pledge or donation? And if there's a cost, what are people going to expect in terms of ticketing?
Stella, I don't want to fight you on national TV. Just said the National Stadium, the open stand is 20,000.
Okay.
And that is to even the school kids themselves, so that they also have, you know, let them also contribute to this project, because it is for them. We have covered stand, which is 60,000. Stage area is 75,000. And the presidential area is 250,000. The concert at the Bintumani would be by donation. And I'm expecting you, Stella, to be donating nothing less than 5 million.
Okay.
And above. We're hoping that,
people,
you know,
have heard that.
It is by donation, and that is where we want all corporate companies to come on board and donate as much as they can afford, so that we get these sanitary pads rolling. We want to start, I mean, I just want to be a realistic person. We want to start with 100,000 sanitary pads now. And then we roll it out and hope that people will, this will not be just a one-off concert thing, but then when we have the GoFundMe account and the international organizations that says they are here to help humanity, they will also want to be part of such a laudable initiative, where we will keep our girls in school. 84 days is a whole lot of days for a child to miss out of school just because of something they have no control over, which is menstruation.
Yeah,
right,
I think we need them to come on board. You know, you can have sex by choice, but you can't, you know, have menstruation by choice. So we need that support.
All right, thank you.
Thank you
so much for, you know, giving AYV the opportunity also to be part of this project and to host you here this morning, to debut the project on our television and radio station. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It has to be AYV. This is whatever I do, I align with AYV, because AYV has championed the Hands of Our Girl campaign. And when you have a champion championing and believing in your cause, that is where you go all the time.
All right.
Thank you.
And as always, AYV would continue to support. We'll take it a step at a time, but definitely AYV will continue to support.
Thank you, ma'am.
I think this is where we end the conversation. It's been, unfortunately, we can't take every question. There are so many questions, but thank you so much, all of you. Maybe let me see if I can grab one more. Maybe I'll grab one more question. Or maybe one more contribution. Okay, well, God, there are so
I think
many.
we can leave the messages for next time.
All
This
right.
is where we end today's edition of the program. Before we leave you, we'll take a quick reminder of a quote for today, which says, "You cannot have development in today's world without partnering with the private sector." And it comes from Hillary Clinton, an American politician, diplomat, lawyer, writer, and public speaker.
And you know, like I mentioned, she was nearly going to be the first female president of the United States of America. But thank you so much, all of you, for being a part of the program, and a special thanks to our sponsor, Rokel Commercial Bank, for helping us bring this program to you. And this is where we end the conversation, but continue to watch AYV as we bring you more information throughout the day. My name is Sarah Bangura. Enjoy your day.
And I'm Antonia Howard, wishing you a lovely day.
You're watching AYV Television.
They're fresh!